Justice Watchers, before we begin, I want to make this absolutely clear. The following broadcast contains public domain courtroom footage, commentary, and legal analysis. This content is presented under the Fair Use Doctrine as defined by 17 U.S.C. 107 and is protected by multiple Supreme Court rulings, which you see below. This stream is transformative, educational, and journalistic in nature. It includes original commentary, trial breakdowns, legal interpretation, and critical analysis, not raw redistribution. We do not claim ownership over any public domain footage, and all use is strictly within legal bounds. If you're watching this content, you're engaging in a protected, transformative experience, grounded in law, never in speculation. And if anyone has a problem with that, take it up with Campbell, Brady, Miranda, and Irvin. Remember, guys, justice always works better when we watch. So keep watching. See you in the courtroom.
Second, 2022. 3 years ago this Wednesday. It started out as a normal, beautiful Saturday for everyone you're going to hear from today. It ended by drastically changing countless lives. Jennifer Chavis, a U.S. Army veteran, a deputy constable, a mother, a sister, a daughter, got up and prepared to go on her regular Saturday shift as a Precinct 7 deputy constable assigned to the toll road. She did everything she does normally. Took a shower, she got dressed, she put on her uniform, she put on her microphone, she put on her gun belt. She kissed her beautiful baby 4-year-old goodbye and left to go protect all of us. Brett Hunter, normal Saturday, he and his girlfriend were getting ready to go to his 3-year-old nephew's birthday party. Just gonna hang out with friends and family and spend the day. This defendant, Adolfo Serrano, spent his afternoon at Moments, a strip club in Pasadena, where he paid for the VIP room and had drink after drink after drink. A little before 4 o'clock, Jennifer was already on shift. She was helping motorists that were stranded. She was stopping speeders. She was looking for DWIs. She was doing the things that she does every single shift to keep us safe. A little before 4 o'clock, Brett Hunter was watching his nephew blow out the 3 candles on his cake, hugging everyone, saying goodbye. Adolfo Serrano was closing out his tab, having his last drink. And this is where the choices that linked them all together began. Because then Adolfo Serrano walked out of that strip club a little before 4 o'clock in the afternoon and chose to get into a truck that didn't belong to him, that belonged to his employer. A truck that is so big, a Ford F-550, that it requires a commercial driver's license to drive. A truck that weighs 14,200 pounds. He chose to get in that car and start it and begin to drive. He got on the Beltway heading west. Brett Hunter and his girlfriend hugged everyone, got in their own car, and started to drive west, getting onto the tollway as well. Brett Hunter, as you're going to hear and see, has a dash cam on the front of his car. It gets the perspective that he has. It also records audio. You're going to hear how normal this Saturday was for them. He and his girlfriend are talking as couples do, just while they're driving. And as he gets onto the tollway, almost immediately you're going to see that their attention is grabbed by a giant white Ford F-550 in front of them. They begin talking about it. Because this truck is being operated so erratically that it can't stay in a single lane. It can't even stay in 2 lanes. They get behind it. And we're talking about Houston traffic here. Brett Hunter was so concerned that he decided he had to call 911 to report this car. You're going to hear that 911 call. You're going to hear Brett narrate over and over every time he can't stay in the same lane. Every time a different car has to move out of the way to not get struck by this monster car. They go well over 20 miles with Brett Hunter giving every exit, every on-ramp to the dispatcher. Somewhere in that, you hear Brett tell the dispatcher that he has crashed into the side of the wall. You're going to see that as well. That triggers a different response from law enforcement. Now they believe there's a crash. And you're going to hear numerous agencies trying to triangulate to get there, to get this person off the road. You're going to hear one of the last statements that Jennifer Chavis ever makes. When she tells all the rest of the officers she is going to sit at the on-ramp of Fondren and the tollway and wait for this potential DWI to pass her so that she can stop him before the worst happens. We are all going to watch as instead of that, this defendant drifts 3 lanes over before that on-ramp, almost striking 2 other vehicles, overcorrects, and as if he's targeted, drives directly into the back of Jennifer Chavis's marked Tahoe and slams into it at 70 miles an hour, 14,200 pounds. It is a violent collision. And you're going to watch it. And you're all going to pray that it took her life immediately. But then you're going to hear from the medical examiner. And they're going to have to tell you that when they perform the autopsy, there was soot in her lungs. You're going to watch that Tahoe be engulfed in flames, and you're all going to have to know that Jennifer Chavis burned alive. You're going to hear from a number of people starting today. They're going to tell you about Jennifer. They've worked with Jennifer. One of them is Hosway Molina. He's a tow truck driver. He's going to tell you he's had countless interactions with Jennifer over the years. He's going to tell you how kind she is. He's going to tell you how professional she was with everyone she came into contact with, civilians, tow truck drivers, other law enforcement. And he's going to tell you that because he was on the radio following this, he knew that it was likely Jennifer in that car. He's going to talk about how he got up there with a small fire extinguisher and did everything he could. But by the time he got to the car, he couldn't even see her face. He could tell it was a person, but he couldn't see her face because of the smoke and the flames that were eating her. And instead of watching his friend burn to death, he turned his attention to the car that caused it. And he's going to tell you that he saw this man getting out of the driver's seat of that massive Ford F-550, going around the front and trying to climb over the barrier. And Hosway is going to tell you that he interpreted that as this person trying to flee from that crash. So he went over there and he detained him until Officer Price was able to put him into custody. During those minutes, Hosway is going to talk to you about the things he noticed. The red, bloodshot eyes, the slurred speech, the fact that he was so unsteady on his feet that Hosway could keep him seated with one hand, and the incredibly strong odor of alcohol that was coming from him. Now, a lot of those observations, you're not going to need to rely on just Hosway or any of the other people that came into contact with him, because there are going to be numerous body cameras and dash cameras that you're going to get to see yourself. You're going to get to see the disoriented look, the unstable walking, the red bloodshot eyes, and especially the slurred speech. You're going to get to see that firsthand. You're also going to hear from Sergeant Niger from the Harris County Sheriff's Department, who's an expert in determining whether someone's intoxicated. He's going to talk to you about his interaction and investigation of this defendant when he got to the hospital. And he's going to give you in his expert opinion that this defendant was intoxicated. Then you're going to hear from Deputy Ben Troyer, who's a crash reconstruction expert. He's also a drug recognition expert. He's going to tell you all of the steps he took to reconstruct this crash, about all of the formulas he puts in to figure out exactly how fast someone was traveling. And he's going to tell you his expert opinion about who caused this crash. He's going to tell you that in his expert opinion, Adolfo Serrano is the sole cause of this crash. And further, he is going to tell you that the reason that Adolfo caused this crash is because of his intoxication. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this part of the trial, we will stand back up here and ask you to find this defendant guilty of taking Jennifer Chavis's life while she was performing an official act, and finding him guilty of intoxication manslaughter of a peace officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Does the defense wish to make an opening statement this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We're going to reserve.
Thank you. State, call your first.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Brett Hunter to the stand.
Brett Hunter.
Your Honor, this witness this morning.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, sir. Can you
morning.
test your mic and see if it's working?
Yes. Testing.
Perfect. Thank you. State.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and introduce yourself to the jury?
How you doing? I'm Brett Hunter.
And Mr. Hunter, what county do you currently reside in?
Montgomery.
Have you always been in Montgomery County?
No.
Where were you before that?
Harris County.
And
Cypress,
when-
Texas.
Say that again?
Cypress.
Cypress, okay. And Mr. Hunter, what do you do for a living?
Sales, territory sales for manufacturing, automation, and robotics.
And on April the 2nd of 2022, were you still residing in Harris County at that time?
Yes.
And where were you earlier in the day on April the 2nd of 2022?
I was at my nephew's birthday. He was turning 3 down in Hitchcock. I believe it was I had a conversation with my person that was in the vehicle with me about what she's seeing as well. And she confirmed that,
Objection,
yeah.
Your Honor, here's site.
You can't say what someone else says.
Oh, okay. Understood. Basically called the police.
And when you say you called the police, did you call the emergency line?
Yes, 911.
And why did you call the emergency line?
Because I felt there was an emergency.
For the record, I'm publishing State's Exhibit Number 1.
And jurors, there's another screen behind you if it's easier for you to look there too. We can adjust it if we need to.
Pausing the video at 1 minute and 14 seconds for the record. Mr. Hunter, at this point in the video, have you observed the vehicle that we have been speaking about?
Yes.
And where is that vehicle located?
In the far left lane.
Your call will be answered by the next available operator in the order it was received. Please do not hang up and call back.
911 medical police and fire.
Police.
This is Valerie. Did your emergency involve immediate danger to life or property? Yes or no?
Yes.
What is the address of your emergency?
We're driving down the beltway, coming up on Westbrook.
No, which beltway?
Beltway, so we're coming up. Whoa, it's got all over the road. So we're coming up on 288 east, westbound. Westbound.
Stay on the line. This call is being checked. This area is handled by Harris County Sheriff's Office. You're now being transferred. One moment. One moment. Harris County Council 57. This is Houston, Illinois. I have a call on the line from your agency for police that's out subway going outbound, that's westbound at State Highway 288. Call is on the line.
How are you? Yes, we got a driver that is severely impaired. He's going across multiple lanes and barely driving.
Where are you at right now?
We're on the Beltway. We're going right over 288 at the moment, westbound. He's about to hit the wall. He's hitting the wall. He just hit the wall.
He's in the wall.
He's not driving. We're about to.
Accident. There's a rider going to be in South Houston. Toll Road. Goodbye.
We need somebody. We're coming up on the easy tag.
Yes, that's a toll. South Freeway. Westbound. Okay, are the people going?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of vehicle?
It's a light work truck. I can't tell what make and model, but he's got a.
Advise that, reporting saying that the subject appeared to be impaired. He was going through multiple lanes of traffic. He hit the wall and then is now driving still.
Very erratic.
He's going to be following at the time of the white work truck.
Let me give you his license plate number.
There.
Can you take this license plate for me?
Go for it.
Louisiana plate. Zulu 127 171.
Okay, B127171 Louisiana.
Correct. We just went under the toll plaza. Still westbound.
Your lead is license is Serrano, and they just went by the toll plaza. Serrano?
Yes. Yeah, I'm following the subject. I've got it on video camera as well.
Be advised the vehicle that have the Louisiana plate, Viva 127171.
It's a white Ford Super Duty.
What's your location right now?
We are going up on South Post Oak.
Be advised to come up on South Coast.
It says 1 mile to South Post Oak.
Be advised about 1 mile from South Coast. Be advised to come.
Pausing the video at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Mr. Hunter, during the time that you were following this vehicle, is it one consistent speed that you guys are going?
No.
Can you explain a little bit about how the speed was going?
It was about as as erratic as the lane movements you see. I mean, it was anywhere from, I would say, 40 up to 80.
I'm in a silver Camry and I'm following with my four-ways on.
Be nice to see followed by a silver Camry, that's gonna be our 2030, and he has his, four-way on. Where you at now?
Half mile to South Coast Road.
Seems like that rain's gonna be coming up to 2017 Ford pickup point somewhere. Let me know when you pass South Coast Road.
Will do. Brett, BRTT, Hunter.
Your phone number?
822-606-6138. Yeah, I can't tell if it's a medical condition or if it's an inebriation, but he is also approved. You can't keep it in one of three lanes.
Right, you just following, right?
Yes. We
So
should,
get the envelope.
we just passed South Coast Road.
Okay, fine, just like make this pass South Coast Road. You are west now, right?
At this point, yeah, west and the northbound, I guess you'd call it. West Viewway is the exit that we're at right now.
Everybody know they just coming out to the west east side. Where you at now?
We're coming up on the next sign. West Park.
We're far lane lines, right?
Yes. He's in the far right lane now. And he's going back left.
That's clear. No, that's not clear.
He's
Okay, you're just talking about the lane?
yeah, he's there.
Okay, no. Okay, I understand. Well, what's the nearest exit? Okay.
It says Fondren's 1 mile.
They're about a mile away from Congress.
You can't tell, but it's got a work bed on the back. I'm flashing your driver. Oh, he's about to hit your guy. He's about to hit your guy. Yeah. Shit. We got an officer down. We got an officer down.
I need you to develop the location. What's the address? What's the address, please? Where's the nearest location?
You just hit the cop car's on fire.
Okay, these lines that we have a fleet, we do have a fleet of vehicle vehicle. Resident vehicle. Yes, they're on the street right at Congress.
We just had a all right.
That's there. Who showed up?
Constable. 367.
Lobby waiting on the case of an update.
Can you hear me?
That's there. Now, let's go home.
Okay. Mr. Hunter, when we see you get out of the vehicle, where did you go?
Into the scene of the accident.
And when you first went up there, what did you observe?
A Tahoe on fire. Saw the truck had hit the barrier and run down the barrier, and the Tahoe had been hit and was flipped around facing back this direction. So I was on the driver's side of the vehicle.
And before the accident occurred in the video, we heard you say that you were flashing the guy. What did that mean?
It was flashing I didn't know if the officer was male or female. So basically, I put myself in the position of an officer sitting on the side of the road and seeing countless cars coming by. I wanted to stick out because I wanted to make aware, like, here we are. This is why you're here. Because they kept telling me that somebody was going to be ahead.
And did you see that there was an officer sitting there?
Yes.
And when you got up to the Tahoe, did you recognize it to be a police vehicle?
Yes.
And when you got to the Tahoe, what did you see?
Black smoke. A very mangled vehicle. That's what I saw, if that's what you're asking.
And what did you do?
I tried to make entry of the vehicle.
And how did you do that?
At first by fist. Another individual was with me, and we both were hitting the window and couldn't make way. So I left the vehicle to go to the back of the truck that struck the Tahoe because it has a work bed. I figured there was something that I could use to breach the window.
Did you find anything?
Yeah.
What did you find?
I don't know if it was a jack handle or some kind of pipe that was in the back loose of the truck. I grabbed it, came back, broke the window out.
What happened after you broke the window?
Black smoke coming out of the vehicle, immense heat. It was too late.
Were you able to make entry into the vehicle?
No. No, there was loud.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Just answer the question, please.
Okay.
Explain anything else that you observed.
The heat was so great that I heard popping sounds. And popping sounds that later was told were ammunition going off.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Ask your next question.
change it. After you tried to make entry into the vehicle, what did you do next?
It was too hot and didn't know what was going to happen next, and we knew it was too late. There was absolutely no way. So I grabbed the guy that was next to me and we backed away from the vehicle.
And after you returned back to your vehicle, other than telling law enforcement your statement, did you have anything other to do with the scene? I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Defense?
We're gonna pass this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Anything further from the state?
Nothing further from the state.
May this witness be excused?
We would like a roll call, Your Honor.
Right. So what that means is you're free to go now, but just be by your phone just in case they need to call you back at any time.
Today.
At any time.
Thank you.
Thank you. State, call your next.
State calls Hosway Molina.
Hosway Molina?
Your Honor, this witness has not been sworn in. Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear that the evidence you will provide in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Before you begin, for those people standing in the back, can you please try to find a seat, a place to sit? State.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Good morning, Dre. My name is Hosway Molina. I'm a record driver.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Houston,
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Lee High School.
The Lee actually in Houston.
Yes, Lee High School in Houston.
What year did you get out?
07.
What'd you do after you got out of high school?
I went to trade school, electrical trade school.
Electrical trade school?
Yes, sir.
Have you practiced as an electrician since you got out of trade school in addition to other work?
Yes.
And obviously, we want to talk more about your other work.
Correct.
How long before this incident were you a record driver?
8 years.
Now, I'm sure the jury doesn't really understand this, but do you work everywhere in Harris County, or do you have a specific part of town that you work in?
We work with a specific side of town.
Okay.
In Harris County, there's districts 1 through 5, and usually where we work is 3 and 4, and I try to stay in District 4 and 3 all the time.
Okay. Do you work exclusively in Harris County?
Yes.
I want to take you back to April 2nd of 2022. Were you working that day?
Yes, sir.
Now, give me kind of a time frame. Do y'all have set shifts, or do you get to kind of pick and choose what time of day you want to work?
We pick and choose our dates and time. It could be evenings. We try to go with the officers' schedules as well. Like there's 3 or 4 different schedules for the officers. So we just choose pretty much around the same time. They'll go in and we'll try to go in as well.
So, for you, did you pick a specific kind of shift that you worked normally, like day shift, evening shift, night shift?
During the weekend, I try to work, I'm going to say day shift, from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 2 o'clock at night.
Okay. And so, Because of that, would you work with the same officers most of the time?
Majority of the time, yes, definitely.
You said that during the weekends you typically would work 2 in the afternoon to sometime at night. Was that true for Saturday, April 2nd, 2022?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we already know that the complainant in this case is Jennifer Chavis. Had you ever met her before that day?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about 2 times, 10 times, estimate how many times you interacted with her before.
Once or twice a day for at least a year or 2.
So, a lot.
Yes, sir.
Give us an idea of how she was as a police officer when you would work with her.
Judge, I'm going to object to relevance.
Parties, please approach.
Judge, one of the elements is that she needs to be in an official discharge of her duties. Part of that is to show that this is the type of operation that she does on a regular basis, and she was doing it at this point. This is extremely
And they've worked together, right?
yes.
And
numerous.
he said he saw her 1 to 2 times every day for a year.
I've got no problem with that. It's the problem with the last question that he asked.
Which was?
Tell me about her and working with her. What kind of police officer she is. That is
He lived here, not any issue. She was on duty. The other evidence is going to say she was dispatched to the scene. She was waiting there to try to get her home.
It's not. First of all, you guys can't tag team object.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, no, agreed. That's fine.
Rules. I'm going to allow it.
Thank you.
Overruled.
All right. Hosway, in the 1 to 2 times every day that you worked with her, tell us what kind of police officer she was.
She was a great officer. Very active. It's pretty hard to
Take your
describe
time.
this. I guess I could say more about the personal level.
Tell me what kind of scenes would you all interact with on?
Accidents, traffic stops, and other DWI cases.
Had you been on the scene before this case where Jennifer had made DWI stops?
Yes,
On few or many occasions?
a lot of occasions.
And what role would you play on those kind of stops?
We would traffic control primarily, especially if they're on the toll road. Wait for them, say they're going to relocate the vehicle. We will relocate it for them, for the officers. And yeah.
Let's go back to April 2nd of 2022. How did you become aware that this was happening, this incident we just saw on tape?
Through our scanners, our police scanners that we have in our tow trucks. We monitor the Precinct 7, toll road, and other local Harris counties or city of Houston.
Where were you when you first heard this incident happen?
I was at West Fuquay in the Belt.
And we just watched the civilian dash camera, so we kind of have an idea. That's not too far from the end of this incident, is that right?
Correct.
What did you do when you heard, or first of all, tell us what you heard that made you begin to follow this?
So we heard that there was a
Objection, you hearsay, Your Honor.
Judge, this is the effect on the listener. We're not offering for the truth of the matter, sir.
The question was, what did you hear?
that made him begin to proceed.
All right, overruled.
We heard that there was a vehicle heading eastbound or westbound on Sam Houston Parkway, swerving in and out of lanes. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was east Sam Houston where actually we heard it from. And then it just traveled towards our section, which was West Sam Houston Parkway in West Fuqua area.
So as you're going, what do you do when you first get that notification that it's kind of headed towards you?
I pretty much stopped and waited under the freeway until we heard it to get any closer. And then once we heard it pass our location, we proceeded to go into the freeway.
Had you ever been involved in a following of a potential intoxicated driver before this incident?
Yes, sir.
When you come up from under the freeway and begin to follow behind, why do you all do that? Why do you follow along the procession?
When we hear DWIs, we try to stop them or block or just block them from doing any more harm that they could cause. Even though we know that we're not supposed to like kind of invade into the police scenes or anything like that, but when it comes to DWI cases, since we do see a lot on a daily basis, we try to prevent as much as we can.
In this case, do you eventually get behind the civilian reportee and the suspect?
I don't get right behind them. When I go onto the on-ramp on West Fuqua, there's already quite a bit of traffic forming. As soon as I go probably past West Fuqua's entrance ramp, it's when we see like an explosion, probably like around Rockwell.
Objection, non-responsive, Your Honor. Calls for yes or no.
So please just try to answer the question.
When you got on the on-ramp, what did you see?
After the on-ramp, there was an explosion.
How far away from you was that explosion?
Quarter of a mile away.
What did you do?
Try to get to the scene as fast as I could.
Why?
When we had heard that the
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained. You can't say what other people say.
It's okay. What made you want to go to the scene as quickly as you could after you saw the explosion?
knowing that an officer was involved in the accident.
How long did it take you to get that quarter of a mile?
2-3 minutes.
How long did those minutes seem to you?
Very long.
Did you have an idea by the time you got there of who was in that vehicle?
No. Close of an idea, yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
Okay, so just try to answer the question. If it calls for a yes or no answer, do your best to just answer yes or no.
After you got there, in 2 minutes, tell us what you did next.
Got out my record truck, got my fire extinguisher, and ran towards the car. The
Which
police
car?
car. The unit.
Set the scene. Tell us what the car looked like when you got there.
It was flipped around, facing the opposite direction of where we were going. It was engulfed in flames. There was a lot of debris in the road.
What did you do when you got to the car?
I tried to open the window and the door.
Did you use your fire extinguisher?
Yes, I extinguished my fire extinguisher as well.
How did you try to open the window?
Breaking it with the fire extinguisher. Trying to break it with the fire extinguisher.
Tell us what you saw inside the window.
Couldn't see.
So,
I couldn't see.
What did you see?
Smoke, flames.
How long did you try to breach the window and get in?
It felt like a long time.
Were you ever able to pull anyone out?
No.
What made you believe that someone was inside the car?
Because you could see the silhouette of the body.
Were you able to tell who it was?
No.
But you could see someone in there?
Yes.
At some point, did you turn your attention away from the police vehicle?
Yes.
What happened next?
I turned around and saw the truck door open. The truck that impacted the unit door open, and saw a gentleman run in front of the truck.
So I want to slow this down. First, describe the truck that impacted the police vehicle.
It looked like a service utility truck,
What color?
white.
You said you saw the driver's side door open. Did you see anyone initially in the driver's seat?
Well, yes.
Do you see that person in this courtroom today that was in the driver's seat of that white truck that struck the officer's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Point him out and identify him by a piece of clothing he's wearing.
Gentleman on the white shirt with glasses.
Judgment of the record reflects he's identified the defendant.
yes, it will.
So what did the defendant do after you first saw him in the driver's seat of that car?
He opened the car door, and went in front of the truck and tried to hop the barrier. And
And what did you do when you saw him try to hop that barrier?
I ran towards him.
Were you able to catch up with him?
Yes.
In your mind, what was going on? What was this defendant trying to do in your mind?
Your Honor, objection to relevance. And this person is not any type of an expert, and it's also cause for speculation.
Judge, I'm only asking for his mind, and it goes toward his actions.
Overruled.
In your mind, what did you think the defendant was trying to do?
Run away.
I'm sorry?
Run away.
And so what did you do?
Stopped him.
How?
He was trying to jump the barrier, but he couldn't. He just couldn't. So I pulled him down from the barrier and held him down.
Okay. Let's talk about some of your observations when you pulled him off of the barrier. Tell me about what his eyes look like to you.
Bloodshot red.
How did he say anything to
He just kept saying that someone hit him. That someone hit him.
you? Were you able to notice anything about his speech?
Slurry. Slurry.
His speech was slurred?
Yes.
How long did you detain him, for lack of a better term, until police officers arrived?
No idea. I want to say 3 minutes. 5.
During that time, did the defendant try to get back up and leave again?
Yes, plenty of times.
Was it difficult or easy for you to keep him positioned where you had him?
It was easy.
And what made it easy?
He just kept stumbling around.
So he was unsteady.
He was unsteady on his feet.
Were you able to notice anything about his odor?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
It smelled like alcohol.
At some point, did additional law enforcement officers arrive on scene?
Yes.
And in relationship to you and this defendant, what happened?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Did a law enforcement officer come over and come into contact with you and the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, and tell us about it.
He came, he grabbed him, handcuffed him, and tried to get him back to the unit.
And did you help the officer in moving him from that part to the marked unit where he was put?
Yes.
After you got done with that contact with the defendant, did you stay on scene for the whole time?
No.
Where'd you go?
I went to go buy water for the officers.
We're going to see a lot of the body cam footage where the defendant is talking on the scene. And you and I have watched some of it together. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You're aware that he at the scene claims over and over that you assaulted
Objection, Your Honor. The prosecution is testifying.
Don't testify.
Yes, ma'am. Did you use any additional force on this defendant than you deemed necessary to keep him at the scene?
No.
So you drove records for 8 years before this crash, right?
Yes, sir.
You still drive records?
No.
Why not?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this question, relevance.
It's not easy. It's not easy to go back to it. After the accident, I did try to stay working for a while. I just couldn't see myself go back to it.
The scene of this crash, Sam Houston Tollway and the Fondren Honor, is that in Harris County, Texas?
Yes.
That's when Mr.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Molina, I have a couple of questions for you. I didn't quite understand your earlier testimony when you were testifying about your interaction with folks on the road and law enforcement, when you said something to the effect that you were trying to stop them from doing more harm. So what exactly would you or other people that you're working with attempt to do with a moving vehicle?
Slow them down.
And how would you go about doing that?
If we could catch up to them, and if the speed's right, we'll get in front of them. Just try to slow them down or wave them down.
Okay, so when you say you try to get in front of them, they're driving, and you would drive in front of them?
If it's necessary, yes.
Okay. At the same time, you're saying that you're not supposed to interfere with law enforcement when they're investigating these types of offenses, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so how do you manage to do that? How do you not interfere at the same time, interfere with the person who's driving?
You get to a point where you get tired of seeing so many accidents and deaths.
No, that's not my question. Physically, how is it that you, for 8 years, are telling us that you tried to stop vehicles that are being investigated by law enforcement, at the same time not interfering with law enforcement's investigations? So I'm asking you logistically, how did you manage to reconcile the two opposing theories? Do you have some sort of a deal with law enforcement? I mean, how does that work?
No.
Well, I'm still waiting for an answer.
Well, I don't know how to answer that for you.
So here we are on April the 2nd, and you see a crash a quarter of a mile away, you get to the scene. At the scene crash, where was the defendant's vehicle in relation to the constable's vehicle? Were they touching? Were they separated?
They're separated.
Okay, how far was the separation? Feet,
9.
inches, what?
A few feet.
A few feet. So, and I'm gonna leave this up to you. 2 feet, 3 feet?
Nah, I didn't have my measurement with me.
I'm sorry?
I didn't have a measurement tape with me, so I really
I'm
don't
not
know.
asking you to estimate. Look at the end of the counter right there. Was it further than the counter to where the box of Kleenex was, or was it closer than that?
It was close enough for me to see the vehicle.
Closer for what?
Close enough for me to see the vehicle.
Okay. So you could see both the deputy's vehicle and the defendant's vehicle at the same time?
If I turned around, yes.
Okay, if you turned around from what?
From the deputy's vehicle to the next vehicle, yes.
Okay. So we're saying 2 to 3 feet.
No.
Okay, so further?
Yeah. A car lane.
I'm asking you.
A car lane.
Car lane. Okay, that's pretty specific, right?
Yeah. Close to it.
Now, you testify that you saw Mr. Serrano open his vehicle door, correct?
Correct.
And then you saw him get out of the vehicle. You don't know, do you? Tell me if you do, whether or not when Mr. Serrano crashed his vehicle, he hit his head or anything like that. Do you know that?
No.
Okay. He gets out of the vehicle, and he is, and I think you said, unsteady on his feet.
Right.
Okay. And he just crashed into a deputy's vehicle. It would be kind of surprising if he was not unsteady on his feet, wouldn't you say?
Objection, speculation.
You can answer the question.
Yeah. Yes.
And you also testified that the constable's vehicle was engulfed in flame.
Correct.
So when he got out of his vehicle, the constable's vehicle was on fire. He didn't walk towards the vehicle, did he? He walked away from the vehicle, correct?
What vehicle are we speaking about?
He walked away from the constable's vehicle, correct?
He walked around his vehicle.
My question is, he walked around his vehicle, which was away from the constable's vehicle, correct?
Yes.
He walked, he didn't run, did he?
He ran. He tried to run.
Okay, let's get this, let's make sure we're clear here. You said he was unsteady on his feet, and you ran towards Mr. Serrano
Right.
to stop him from walking away.
Right.
And the constable's vehicle was still on fire?
Yes.
How long were you with Mr. Serrano? Approximately. I'm not going to hold you to it.
3, 5 minutes. Felt long.
3 to 5 minutes?
Waiting for an officer? Or with him? Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't ask you another question.
sorry.
Now, you worked as a record driver for 8 years, and you're saying that in 2022, that was your last year as a record driver?
Give or take 2022, yes.
Okay. And prior to being a record driver, what did you do?
Electrician.
Okay. How long were you an electrician?
Since I was 18.
Okay. Now, Mr. Molina, maybe I'm mistaken here, but you've been in trouble with the law.
Objection, Judge. May we approach?
What is the approach?
This is the jury.
All rise for the jury.
Please be seated.
Audio mute.
Oh, for the live stream. Sorry. So when you done with the stream,
You call me on the
Ron is saying that it ended in 2015. Now, it's a matter of what date on of 2015.
Judge, the only way it could have ended on 2015 is if the whole 96 months of probation had been
Right.
permanent, and it didn't happen.
So I'm gonna,
He terminated when he was 19.
so I'm gonna sustain the objection for now, but you can always have them subject to the thought when we get more firm. Does that make sense?
Yes, Judge.
And Judge, we're printing
Oh,
out
okay.
the termination right now. Where's the termination? Text. We're finding the termination. We're finding the termination, but even all things, even if this had been transferred, the sentence ending 3/19 of 2014, which means we're outside of.
Not well outside, it's close.
Well, that's if they carried a juvenile probation until he's 24, which we know doesn't happen. So look at that, and then let's go.
All right, we good? I think Gary wants to. All right. Well, wait.
Take a break before 1:30.
All rise. You may be seated.
Yes, it's off my ear.
Not full and neatly? They commit to that all the time.
my junk. Right there. You need some more? You need some more shot? These are other. So this is we one?
Yes.
Put you on the back of this page. What is that, Mr. Grant?
Yes. Let's say
Just for the record, Judge, I was standing when you came.
Judge, just for the purposes of our discussion outside the presence of the jury, and so the record will know what we're talking about, the defense would proffer.
You can just lean in a little bit to the microphone, adjust it and bring it back. Oh, sometimes unmute.
All rise for the jury.
Jurors, can you please be seated when you reach your seat. We're standing for you. Hi, please be seated. Jurors, you are to disregard the last question asked by the defense counsel. Mr. Goddard?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Molina, you indicated that Mr. Serrano's speech was slurred when you made contact with him. Had you ever met Mr. Serrano before?
No.
So you had no idea what his speech is like in any other kind of setting, do you?
No.
We're going to pass this with you, Sean.
Thank you. State?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Will this witness be excused?
He may from the state.
We would like him on call.
All right. So, Mr. Molina, what that means is you are subject to recall. Just make sure the parties have their numbers, just in case you need to come back to testify. Thank you. State?
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Deputy Williams to the stand.
Deputy Williams?
Your Honor, this witness has been sworn in.
Take a seat.
Yes. The jury said they're having a hard time hearing.
Testing.
Better? All right, thank you. State?
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon.
Yep.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Deputy Leslie Williams.
And Deputy Williams, I see you're in a sheriff's office uniform. How long have you worked for the sheriff's office?
I've been with the sheriff office over 2 years and a half. This June will make 3 years.
And where were you a police officer before you were with the sheriff's office?
Harris County Precinct 7 Constable Office.
And how long were you with Precinct 7 for?
I want to say 10 or 11 months.
And during your time, well, first of all, when did you go to the police academy?
I want to say 2020 at Montgomery County Sheriff Office.
And after you completed the police academy, did you go through any other training?
I went through FTO training, field training, basically training, patrol training.
And what year did you start with Precinct 7?
2022 or 2022, I believe.
Okay. And when you worked with Precinct 7, what were your duties?
I was assigned to the toll road, so I was a toll road deputy.
And can you explain to the jury what a toll road deputy does with that precinct?
So basically, you're assigned to the beltway. So you got the whole beltway, and then you have Hardy toll road. So each constable get a section of the beltway or Hardy toll road. Working at Precinct 7, I was assigned to the South San Houston tollway. We get the main lanes. Basically, you perform law enforcement duties, run traffic, investigate accidents, traffic hazards, any call that we may get on the main lanes.
And during your time in 2022, what shift did you work with Precinct 7?
I was assigned to evening shift, which is 2 to 10 and also 3 to 11. I was 3 to 11.
3 p.m. to 11?
Yes,
p.m.?
yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
And how many deputies would typically work the toll road at that time?
So each shift was different. Day shift maybe had, I want to say, a little bit more deputies. I think during my time we had anywhere from 4 to at most, I want to say 6 or 7 deputies.
And I want to bring your attention to April the 2nd of 2022. Were you on duty that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working that evening shift?
Yes, ma'am.
Who all was working the evening shift with you as far as assigned to the toll road?
Sergeant Scott, Deputy Price, Deputy Jennifer Chavis, and myself.
So it was Sergeant Scott, Jennifer Chavis, yourself, and Price?
Yes, ma'am.
And before this call went out, where were you?
I was on the main lanes, not exactly sure which exit I was near, but I was on the main lanes of the toll road.
And how long had you known Deputy Chavis for at this time?
I met her my first day, so from July to her past day, I have known her pretty much.
And did you get the chance to work with her on few or many occasions?
Many occasions.
And had you guys responded to things together that day?
I believe I had a traffic stop that she stopped by and checked by with me just to make sure I was under control.
And was that something that she normally did?
Yes, normally you learn the exits, and when somebody call out on traffic, you kind of just take a mental note and they're in your head where they are, so just in case something happens.
And what kind of role did she take on with you guys?
A leadership role. She was like the big sister of the shift. She brought everybody together. She was very family oriented. She always talked about her personal family, Billions, her nephew, her mom, sister, Quincy. So she brought that same attitude to work, brought us together.
And on April 2nd of 2022, what brought your attention to the radio that evening?
So I'm not exactly sure how it came out, but it came out, to my knowledge, from what I can remember, it came out as a possible DWI driver traveling westbounds on the main lanes. I believe we got the call once I'm not sure if he came from 45 or further east of 45 on the main lanes, but I believe the call went to Precinct 2 first and it transferred over to Precinct 7.
And when you heard that call go over the radio, what were your next steps?
I believe I want to say I was primary or she was primary, so we picked the call up once it was transferred over from Precinct 2 to Precinct 7, and we began to respond to the call.
And tell me what you did to respond.
Activated my emergency equipment, my overhead lights and my sirens, and went around to that location. He was traveling, so trying to play catch up more so.
And on that day, was your vehicle equipped with a dash camera?
Yes, it was.
And was that dash camera in good working order?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm approaching the witness with what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 3. Do you recognize this USB drive?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that your initials on the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review this footage?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this a true and accurate copy of your dash video from that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Turning to opposing counsel for any objections, State's Exhibit number 3 and offering it into evidence.
Judge, I would object any hearsay that's on this video, otherwise no objection.
Have you seen the video?
I have seen the video.
Okay. Overruled.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Pausing the video for the record at 1 minute and 48 seconds. Deputy Williams, at this point, did you have your emergency equipment activated?
I would believe so. If the camera put it on.
Pausing the video at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. At this point, did you observe anything?
Yes, coming over the Hillcroft Bridge, I observed a large cloud of smoke coming up on the main lanes ahead of me.
And did you know who was involved with that at that time?
No, ma'am, not at that time.
Pausing the video at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Was there any other deputy other than Deputy Chavis that was on scene when you arrived?
No, ma'am.
Pausing the video at 7 minutes and 35 seconds. We heard some rustling around. What are you doing at that time?
I'm not exactly sure if I was going for the fire extinguisher. I'm not sure what I was doing at that time, to be honest.
Pausing the video at 8 minutes and 14 seconds. Who is that in the video that we just saw run up there?
I believe it to be Sergeant Scott. Sergeant Scott. I'm sorry. Scott.
Deputy Williams, when you first arrived on the scene, what is the first thing that you remember doing?
I'm not exactly sure. I remember getting out of my vehicle. Like I said, I'm not sure if I even got the fire extinguisher first. It didn't dawn on to me that it was a patrol vehicle. When I ran up on it, that's when I saw CON. Everything else was engulfed, and flames and smoke. And that's when it kind of registered to me, you know, what may have occurred. Even then, I still thought maybe Jennifer had.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Responsive.
I'm sorry for overspeaking.
When you got out of the car and you saw the CON, what did that tell you?
Can you repeat, please?
When you got up to the car and you saw that it said CON on the side, what did that?
It registered that it was one of our patrol vehicles.
And when you got up to the vehicle, did you know if anybody was inside?
Not immediately.
When did you realize that?
I believe a witness, maybe a witness, I'm not sure, stated that
Objection,
somebody.
hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm gonna, Judge, that's gonna be a present sense impression.
No,
You can't say what someone else says.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a point in time when you realized that somebody was still in that vehicle?
Yes.
When you first got up to the vehicle, what did you see?
Complete darkness inside.
And what did you do?
Tried to break the window with my baton, and at one point with the fire extinguisher.
And was anybody with you when that was happening?
Initially, I believe a person on the street was trying to help a civilian.
And at some point, did other officers show up?
Yes.
And did any of those other officers participate in helping you try to get into that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was that?
Sergeant Scott.
And were you guys able to make entry into that vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did you learn who was in that vehicle?
Yes.
And who was that?
Deputy Jennifer Chavis.
After you attempted to get her out of the vehicle, what was the next thing you did on that scene?
I believe I broke down in emotions.
Were you able to help the scene in any way after that point?
I think I was pretty much useless at that point.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Betts?
yes, thank you, Your Honor. Deputy Williams, when you got to the vehicle, were you the first person to get to the vehicle?
Patrol, deputy-wise,
Yes.
law enforcement?
Yes.
Yes,
Was there already a civilian there?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Was this civilian someone that you recognized previously?
No, not to my knowledge.
So you think you were the second person?
I was the first deputy to my knowledge.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get at was, let's talk about people. So there was a civilian, the person who was already there. Were you the second person who was there, you think?
Yes,
And then you testified that Sergeant Scott then tried to assist you.
yes, sir.
Pass this witness, Your Honor.
Anything further from the state?
Nothing further from the state, Judge.
And this witness be excused?
From the state, yes, Judge.
We will pass this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
State, call your name.
The state calls Sergeant Scott.
Sergeant Scott?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge. Introduce yourself, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would.
Edward Scott.
Mr. Scott, I notice you're not in the uniform of everyone else. Are you still a sworn officer?
No, I was constructively forced to retire.
Okay. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Before you retired, how long had you been a sworn peace officer?
Since 1998.
Same year I graduated high school. Where did you work in 1998?
For Harris County Precinct 7.
So your entire law enforcement career was with Precinct 7, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. I would imagine during that time you have seen a number of deputies come and go, is that right?
That's right.
I want to take you back to April of 2022, okay?
Okay.
What rank did you have at that point?
Evening shift tow road sergeant.
Okay. Now, give the ladies and gentlemen of the jury just kind of an idea of the way that Precinct 7 divides up their deputies and their supervisors in different ways.
Right. You have a patrol division and you have a civil division that works at the main office, and the tow road division is assigned to the South Sam Houston Tow Road.
All right. And so let's start with the patrol division. Is that basically running calls for service, the things that we think of as patrol officers?
Yes, that's mostly dealing with the entire precinct. The patrol division is dealing with the entire precinct 7.
And then the civil division we won't even touch on.
Okay.
Let's talk about the toll road division. Tell us what you all in the toll road division are tasked with doing on a regular shift.
We're tasked with making sure that everyone is driving safe on the toll road, and our patrol area was from Macau Road over to 59 and over by Sugarland.
What kind of things would y'all be asked to do on the main lanes of the toll road on a regular shift back in 2022?
Make sure that everyone is driving the speed limit. We get calls about debris on the toll road, drunk drivers, road rage, any type of traffic violations. We're out there.
So in April, you said you were assigned as the evening shift supervisor, is that right?
That's correct.
Give us the hours that's expected to work.
That's 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
How many deputies on a given Saturday would you be supervising for Precinct 7 on the toll road?
About 3 or 4.
So April the 2nd of 2022, how many deputies did you have under you at that?
I had 3.
Okay, and tell us who they were.
Deputy Chavis, Deputy Williams, and Deputy Price.
And was this the first time that you had worked with Deputy Chavis?
No.
How many times do you think in her young career had you been her supervisor?
Ever since she came to the toll road, I think in the latter part of 2021. I'm not sure exactly.
Tell us what kind of police officer she was during the time that you supervised her on the toll road.
She was the perfect deputy. I mean, she would get to work and I didn't have to look for her. When she hit the back door, she would come in the building and say, the Queen has arrived, and everyone would laugh, and she'd be the loudest person in the building, so you would know she was at work. And I mean, when I did the uniform check, her uniform was always perfect. I didn't ever have to tell her about, the uniform. I mean, everything was perfect.
Was she a diligent officer on the main lanes? Was she making stops, assisting motorists at the right clip for you?
Yes, sir. In fact, on the day of this incident, she...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
That's your next question.
Tell us, before this incident happened, what, if anything, notable happened on the shift?
Before this incident?
That you were just about to tell us.
she was a perfect deputy. I mean, she come to work, and she came in early that day to work temp tag enforcement for those paper plates that drive on the toll road and they're not registered to that vehicle.
Let's talk about the incident that we're all here about. How did you know that it was happening?
10 minutes prior to this incident happening, she had told me at roll call she wanted to wash her car, and she sent me a text 10 minutes before this incident happened saying she was ready to go to the car wash, and I gave her permission to go to the car wash, and this call went out, and she...
And so I want to stop you there. What
Okay.
was the call initially?
An aggressive driver failing to maintain a single lane.
Okay. What does that do for you all? Like, what does that trigger in y'all's response?
Everyone, when we get a call like that, that's assigned to the tow road on that shift, is to respond to that call until we get that vehicle stopped and checked and see what's going on with that vehicle.
So she's basically on a break going to get the patrol car washed, right?
That's correct.
Does she continue on with that task?
No, sir. That area there is where we use US 98 to go up US 98 to the Mr. Car Wash that's right across from NRG Stadium. So that's why she was down in that area.
Okay. So what did she do instead of going to get the car washed?
She turned around and parked at the Hillcroft entrance ramp and was relaying to the tow road dispatch what Precinct 7 primary dispatch had put out of a possible drunk driver headed westbound on the tow road coming her way.
Now, you said Hillcroft. Did she move from that to the Fondren on-ramp? Or
No, that Hillcroft entrance ramp is between Hillcroft, Fort Bend Toll Road, and Fondren.
okay. So that's the on-ramp where she waited the entire time.
That's correct.
And you've seen the video.
Yes.
Waiting in that, what we call the gore, is that proper police procedure in that scenario?
Absolutely. I mean, when we hear of a vehicle coming our way, we would use.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Ask your next question.
Explain to us why that's proper police procedure.
Because on the toll road, you have certain areas that you could enter and exit. So if a vehicle is coming your way, you don't exit off and try to go back and get behind it. You just pull over and wait on it to pass you.
Based on your review, was she in any moving lane at the time of this crash?
No, she was not.
As her supervisor, were her actions what you would have expected from an officer of her caliber that day?
Yes, that's the exact way we train them.
Was she discharging an official duty at the moment that this crash occurred?
Yes, she was.
All right. I want you to take me through you getting to the scene.
When the call went out, I was probably 2 miles from the Hillcroft exit ramp, and when I got to the scene, I was going to, wait till she make the traffic stop. I usually stop probably 100, 150 feet behind the deputies and get out and direct traffic out of the right lane, because you have that traffic that still want to go 65 miles an hour in the right lane while they're out conducting their traffic stop. So that was my plan on this Saturday. And as I crossed probably Fuquay, I see this big plume of black smoke, and that's when the dispatcher come over the radio and advised that one of our deputies had been hit, had been a fleet. And I activated my emergency equipment and got there, and when I was crossing Hillcroft, the Fort Bend Toll Road.
Objection, Your Honor. This is calling for a narrative.
Judge, we'll bring it up. What happened next when you're crossing Fort Bend Toll Road?
I crossed the Fort Bend Toll Road, and I could see the patrol vehicle blazing, and I was just, as I approached the scene, I was just scanning the area, looking to see Jennifer standing outside of a patrol car, and she wasn't there, and I exited my patrol car, got out, ran to the front of the patrol car that was burning, and couldn't see inside the glass for the side curtain airbag, so I went to the passenger side, of the burning patrol car and grabbed the handle and pulled on it, and it came off. So I threw the handle down and got my flashlight and started beating on the passenger side glass, trying to get it to break, but it wouldn't break. And I stepped back and I just threw the flashlight and broke the glass and stuck my arm on the inside of the car and tried to open the door from the inside, but the door was, the crash was so horrific that it just jammed the door.
Judge, we'll break it up. Were you able to, once you broke the window, able to open that door?
No, it was jammed. It was jammed.
What was the temperature like inside that vehicle when you stuck your arm in?
It burned my side of my arm. I ended up tearing my rotator cuff, trying to pull on it. It was hot. It was hot. It burned off my facial hairs off, and my arm was scorched. And trying to open the door.
Did you know that that was Jennifer's patrol vehicle?
Yes.
How long after you got on the scene and broke the window were you aware that Jennifer was still inside that car?
I didn't see her. It was so much commotion going on. And once I didn't see her, Deputy Williams was there with me trying to break the glass with his baton. And I knew she was in there, but I didn't want to believe that she was in the car.
What did you do after you couldn't open the door?
The record driver pulled me back, and I kind of went to the inside wall and just stood there. I mean, at that time, it was the entire car was totally engulfed. And I remember walking back to my patrol car, and I think I called the chief. I started calling the command staff.
In all of your years, had you ever lost a deputy under your supervision?
No, I haven't.
No questions of this witness, Your Honor.
May you please be excused?
From the state?
Yes, Your
All right,
Honor.
thank you.
And Judge, since he's been excused, can he be excused from the rule for the rest of the?
I don't have a problem with it. What says the defense?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, well, unfortunately, you're still a potential witness.
Okay.
So, all right, state call next.
State calls Deputy Price to the stand, Judge.
And just so the jury knows, lunch will be here at 1:30. Forget about you.
Judge, this witness has been sworn in.
Okay, thank you. State.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Cedric Price. I work for the. My name is Cedric Price, and I work for the Texas Medical Center Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Texas Medical Center Police Department?
Going on almost 2 years now.
And where did you work before that?
At Harris County Sheriff Office.
And at any time did you work for Precinct 7?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And how long did you work for Harris County Precinct 7?
It was probably about 3 months, 3 or 4 months, I believe.
And when you were with the Harris County Constable Precinct 7, What role were you assigned?
I was assigned to the toll road evening shift.
And who did you work evening shifts with?
I worked with Sergeant Scott, Deputy Williams, Deputy Chavis.
And what were your duties as a toll road deputy?
Just patrolling the tollway, traffic stops, assisting motorists when stranded, things like that.
And were you on duty on April the 2nd of 2022?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And when you were on duty, were you wearing a body-worn camera?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And was it in working order that day?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm approaching the witness with what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 4. Do you recognize this USB drive?
Yes, I do.
And is this a true and accurate copy of your body-worn camera that you had that day?
Yes, it is.
Had it been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Tendering to opposing counsel for any objections and offering State's Exhibit number 4.
I want to object to any hearsay that's contained on State's Exhibit number 4, Your Honor.
Parties approach.
Permission to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Yeah. This way. Go away. What happened, bro?
Under fire and EMS media location.
Hey, sometime 26, show us up at the tank. Come on, raise your feet up, man. There you go. Hold the button, hold the button. All right, come on, let's go. I got it. Come on, man, get up. Get up. Appreciate it. Sure. Yes, sir. Where's your leg go, man? Where's your leg go? Where's your leg go? Come on, man. Why are you doing like this, man? Come on. What's going on, man? Like for real. All right. Three, 1, 3. All right. Hey, bro. Okay. 3, 1, 3. All right. Get in, man. Come on, leg. What you got on here?
I don't got nothing, man.
You got nothing?
Just my ID, my money, and my phone.
All right.
What happened, bro?
I'll tell you later.
No, man. Everybody's accusing me.
No weapons?
No, bro.
All right, yeah, sit down for me. I'll tell you all about it later.
Why am I being detained?
I'll tell you all about it later.
Bro, where are you going?
I'll tell you about it later.
This was an accident.
Yeah, I know. Sit down.
Okay?
It's,
Hey, let's not worry about that now. I know it's it. Hey, come in with the tape. All right, just calm down.
Hey, we.
You gonna take?
No, I don't. All right, now.
Pausing the video at 7 minutes and 27 seconds. Officer Price, at this point, did you know that Deputy Chavis was still in the vehicle?
No, I didn't know.
When you got to the scene, what were you tasked to do?
get the suspect and, detain the suspect and place him in the 313 shop.
Okay. And do you,
suspect, repeat that.
Detain the suspect and place him in one of our vehicles.
and were you able to detain the suspect at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see the person that you detained in the courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point him out and identify him by an article of clothing that he's currently wearing?
Yes, the suspect is wearing a white collar shirt.
Okay. Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant. Thank you. Officer Price, when you made contact with the suspect, what did you observe?
I noticed his voice was slurred. I could smell alcohol, the alcohol on him. I knew he was intoxicated, very intoxicated. He could barely stand up. Okay. You know, his eyes was red. So.
And did he seem to have trouble walking when you were taking him back to the patrol vehicle?
Absolutely, yes. He couldn't, that's why I was assisting him. He couldn't stand up.
Okay. Is what y'all good, man? What was his name? Chavis, whatever? Huh? Oh, man. Fuck.
Officer Price, after you detained the suspect, did you do anything else on scene that day?
No, just stood by.
Were there any other agencies that showed up while you were there?
Yes, there was several agencies.
Where the accident occurred, was that located in Harris County, Texas?
Yes, it was.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
So that's,
Yes, Your Honor. Deputy Price, just a couple of questions. We could hear Mr. Serrano speak very clearly on the video just now. What did he say to you that was slurred?
Well, his voice was slurred, and you can smell the alcohol. Like
No, that wasn't my question. You testified just a moment ago that his voice was slurred. So we can hear him very clearly, and we don't hear any slurring.
Objection, defense is testifying, Judge.
My question to you is...
Objection.
My question to you is, what did he say to you that was slurred?
his voice, every time he spoke, it was slurred.
So what was he saying that was slurring?
He kept on asking the same question.
The same question that we heard on the video?
Yes, sir.
And you would agree with me that that did not sound slurred on the video? Are you saying the video is not accurate?
No, I'm not saying that.
Now, when you all transferred Mr. Serrano from where he was sitting down to the patrol car, you didn't walk him along the highway, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You actually walked him, assisted him to get to the vehicle on the road, on the ground, correct? Which sloped downward, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to. We couldn't walk past the actual the vehicle because it was in flames.
And you would agree with me that as depicted in the video, the ground is pockmarked, it slopes downward, and it would be easier for everybody if you all assisted Mr. Serrano, correct? you all didn't try, in other words, to let him walk on his own, did you?
Well, he couldn't walk on his own because he was detained.
So my question to you is real simple. When you approached Mr. Serrano, he was sitting down, correct? And then when you went to get Mr. Serrano, other people stood him up, correct?
Yes, sir.
You did not see at that point Mr. Serrano attempting to walk, did you?
No, sir.
So at that point, other people had their hands on him from the moment that you approached to the moment he got into that patrol car, correct?
Well, once I got there.
Or not?
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, and I could be mistaken about this, but when I look at the video, Mr. Serrano did not have shoes on. Am I correct about that?
I don't remember.
Pass this witness.
Anything further from the state?
No further questions, Judge.
All right, may this witness be excused?
From the state, yes,
We
Judge.
would like to know.
But you're excused for now, but just make sure they have your numbers just in case they have to recall you. Thank you very much. All right, this is the perfect time for a lunch break.
All rise for the jury.